Today's lesson is the road to discovery.
Like my new Toyota RAV4 Platinum. With the Entune Premium JBL audio with integrated navigation and app suite, I'm always finding someplace new.
Trust your heart and your feet will open a new way.
Like my RAV4. It has a hands-free foot-activated power liftgate.
Class dismissed.
Anybody want to ride in my RAV4?
Me? I humbly accept your offer.
Well, come on.
When you're driven by discovery, you find adventure. The 2017 RAV4 Platinum. Toyota. Let's go places.
WABC, where New York comes to town.
The Bernie and Sid Show.
Guaranteed to be enormously successful.
It's about truth, the damn truth, New York's truth, the truth behind the BS. For New York, nothing at all in between. This is Bernard McGurk.
Bernard McGurk.
Mr. Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Bernie and Sid.
77 WABC.
Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right now, cause I can't get much stronger. Man, I've been waiting all night now, that's how long I've been on ya.
10:08 on your Tuesday New York City morning. Welcome back to the Bernie and Sid Show here on 77 WABC. The melodic tones of Kanye West in the background. Of course, once again, there's a method behind the madness to that, because if you're not watching television or listening to us, just tuning in, you would know that moments ago, who walked into the Trump Tower, went up the elevator to go talk to Mr. Trump, the president-elect, none other than the aforementioned, the man you're listening to right now, Kanye West. What job is he going for?
Why it got to be madness? That's a good question. He went up, and then he came down about 15 minutes later, just 5 minutes ago, and Trump actually escorted him down, which he normally doesn't do with people. He got a little photo op. They had a couple of words. They spoke to the press. We're getting those words, whatever the hell they were. But it is bizarre. Kanye West,
really bizarre.
He, of course, he's got this beef now with his former partner Jay-Z, who campaigned for Hillary Clinton like a loser. And so that I'm sure will only exacerbate the beef. Well, he was when he lost his mind there before he was.
He doesn't seem like a very bright guy.
That's what he just said.
Before he was in the lunatic asylum, he was begging Jay-Z not to have him killed.
Yeah, I know.
So.
And he went blonde and shows up at Mr. Trump's place today.
But he was. I don't think he was blonde at Trump Tower. Maybe
I couldn't see, but the picture in page 6 today in the New York Post has a blonde Kanye West.
No revolting Kim Kardashian tagging.
No, that's over. No, she kicked him out. She's done. She's already with Blake Griffin or somebody.
Blake Griffin. Yeah.
No, she. In fact, as far as I know. Well, and of course, my sources on the magazine's Key Food, while I'm paying for my food, she doesn't want anyone near the kids either.
She doesn't want what?
Anyone near the kids.
She doesn't want him near the kids.
Yeah, she thinks he's nuts.
Yeah, hello.
Well, I guess Donald Trump does it. Donald Trump is such a jock sniffer, such a God. If you're famous, you cool with me, basically.
This is the thing. He's trying to reach out. He's reaching out.
George Bush doesn't care about black
people. Yeah. Look, listen, there's no question about it. Kanye's a psycho. But a lot of people like Kanye.
Nobody likes him.
He's a black artist.
Who likes him?
I don't know, but a lot of people show up at his concerts.
Oh, God.
A lot of people. You just heard that was one record that he makes good music.
Let me say this. I hate all of those people. If you show up at a Kanye West concert, I'm going to say this here right now, I don't care what the repercussions are. If you go to a Kanye West concert, I hate you.
I agree.
White, black, green, doesn't matter what color you are. I hate you.
Now, that's very, very tolerant of you.
Yeah, well.
Well, look, whatever. Anyway,
I never promised you tolerance.
The point is,
when did I promise you tolerance?
He's got Trump has this other R&B singer Neo.
Yeah. Come on.
He's going to perform at the inauguration. In other words, and this is killing some people, it's the normalization of Donald Trump.
No, that's not what it is. It's the fact that Trump's favorite artists are all liberals. Like Trump loves Bruce Springsteen, but Bruce ain't going to play at Donald Trump's inauguration.
And he loves Elton John.
Well, he may get Elton John.
He might, if he pays for him.
How much is Elton for one night? $1 million?
$1 million and maybe a couple of doormen thrown in.
You know what $1 million will get you at Sumner Redstone, don't you?
Yeah. Well, listen, if you look like Sumner Redstone, that's what it should cost you. You talk about somebody who looks like an old lesbian.
He really does. There's a picture of him in the paper today, basically propped up in between two ladies who he spent $24 million on. He looks like an old waxed lesbian.
Gross. And this, to my old theory that I have laid out here, that at some point, as men age, at some point along the way, I think that chemical castration might not be a bad thing.
Well, no, it's gone the other route. Instead, it's gone Viagra,
I know.
Cialis.
I know that. But
so at 93, he can still do it.
But here's the thing, though. You just make an utter ass out of yourself. It's just disgusting.
What does he care?
It's well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but she made all that money. Good for her.
Right.
Well, good for her, but look, for your own sake, for your own dignity.
He doesn't care. God.
I'm talking about you and me and everybody.
Well,
not just him.
Well, I'm going to be with Danielle till I die. I'm not going to be on the cover of the New York Post spending $90 million on.
All I'm saying is at some point, you don't want to be like craning your neck as you're walking down the block.
I do.
With a cane.
I do.
Looking at some ass that walked by.
No, not looking at some ass, but I want to make the last night of my life, I'm making love to my wife.
It's just not becoming of a 75, 80-year-old. It's gross to watch.
No, you're right about that.
It's disgusting.
He's 93, by the way.
You're sitting there at the 80 and you're on Pornhub. I mean, no, you get the chemical castration. You can still watch Jeopardy. You can still enjoy a nice sunset.
Right.
You can enjoy
the Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls.
Show.
Right, there you go.
Or whatever it is.
It's funny you say that. The first
a nice meal still tastes great
at 4:30 in the afternoon.
You're just not looking. You're just not making a fool out of yourself like Sumner Redstone.
The first job I ever had in New York City, before FAN, I worked 1 year at WNEW. When it was really an up-and-coming station, as you well know, Bernard. You had Opie and Anthony, who were doing a monster job in the afternoons, Ron and Fez, and the radio chick Leslie Gold, and a whole bunch of us. And I was doing mornings with Scott. And eventually Craig Carton.
That was Sports Guys.
Sports Guys. Me and Scott. They fired Scott, and I brought in Craig Carton. So I did work with Craig more than once. Anyway, make a long story short, I'm with Scott. We walk in. It's our first day. And when you went into that radio station, you had to kiss the ring of Opie and Anthony. They were, I guess, I Miss Mike and the Mad Dog of WNEW. And this is the first day we're there. And they said, boys, sit down. We want you to watch this. True story. And we knew who they were. Whip them out Wednesday, the Wow. I mean, they were a big deal, you know. So we sit down, Scott and I, and Rick Delgado, their producer, who was eventually fired for writing a song about the tsunami. You may remember all that stuff.
Sure.
He puts on a video, swear to God, of a 90-year-old woman having sex, a porn, with a 90-year-old woman. I'd never seen anything like it in my life, and it was really disturbing.
90-year-old woman having sex with who?
With like a 40-year-old guy.
Right. So, and you were traumatized.
And they told me that this is an actual, like a category on the porn thing, so younger men with grannies, I guess. She was 90. And talking about Sumner Redstone at 93 still having sex. I've never been the same since that video. Never.
Was the male blindfolded?
He was not. He did it. He was in decent shape, decent looking guy, and he did it. And they did everything. Oral.
Wow. Was she
giving or receiving?
Both.
She bent over a walker or something?
She was very stiff, to be completely honest. And she looked uncomfortable.
He was as well.
Yeah.
But what about when you have a couple that's married for 50 years and they're still having sex?
Well, that's different.
That's okay.
That's different.
I guess that's all right. It's still.
What do you mean you guess it's all right?
It's just.
You love each other? It's healthy.
At some point, you got to give it up.
Okay, so you're saying that at a certain age, you got to give up sex, basically.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And what's the age for you?
I don't know.
Then you get divorced.
It's all different.
Right.
Different for everybody. But
well, here's the difference.
Like women, it just seems to expire. The desire expires.
They stop
at some point.
after menopause. About years after that, they stop.
Some men, it just never.
It never stops,
no matter what.
And then, of course,
look at the guy who was out in the movie theater. The old actor. What's his name? The funny guy. He's on Modern Family sometimes. He's a very funny guy. I see him on Jimmy Kimmel.
Chaz Palminteri?
No, Chaz Palminteri.
He's on Modern Family.
Palm. So anyway, this guy was out in a movie theater. He went to a porno theater. This is a few years ago.
Talking about Pee Wee Herman?
No.
He got
Fred
caught.
Willard.
Fred Willard,
yes. Right.
He goes he's like 79 years old. He goes to a porno theater and he's got the old box of popcorn with his wee
inside the box.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's busted.
Inside the box?
So in other words, he had it inside the box.
Yeah, he did.
But that's another example of what I'm talking about. So Sumner Redstone, the rest of it, at some point, just stop.
Just stop.
That's it. So anyway.
But your body doesn't. The man.
I don't know how we got into
because of Sumner.
You guys always get into this topic.
Right. It started with Kanye West. This segment started with Kanye West.
It's undignified. It's humiliating, and it's just not necessary.
Do you think that if we play our first 18 minutes of radio today, side by side with Mark Simone's 18 minutes of radio today, that it's almost exactly the same conversation?
That is a guy who I think was probably chemically castrated about 30 years ago.
Easy, yeah.
Because he's why talk about?
Well, no, it's not you, but the rumors. I don't know the guy.
I forget.
The rumors are that he's.
I withdraw the stop. How about Rex Tillerson?
What about him?
First of all, Rick Perry.
Yeah.
He's the energy secretary, the guy who couldn't remember the. Well, that's cool though. Rick Perry, you know what? He's a good guy, good American. He flew a C-130, one of those huge jets in the Army Air Force or whatever the hell it was. I believe it was the Army.
Yeah.
But the Army actually has some planes in it. But whatever it was, so he's a good guy, governor of Texas. And
he had one good debate in 2012. One good debate, you may remember. And then he was awful in the second debate, and he didn't even have one good debate. And I think he started at the kiddie table, too, right away, right? He was never at the big stage.
I don't believe so.
I think the first debate was him. Macaulay Fiorina actually was great. I think Rick Perry was part of that one, and he was awful.
She was there yesterday also.
I know.
And she's another one who Trump had said about, look at that face, who would vote for that.
That wasn't very nice. Sorry. How you going to defend that? He called her ugly.
And then she shows up yesterday wearing a full-out burqa as she entered Trump Tower, which was kind of a real. She submitted.
He probably thanked her. Thank you for covering your face.
So the bottom line is, you got this Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson. He's going to be the Secretary of State.
Maybe.
And you know what? Who cares?
Yeah, no, right. He's been selected by Donald Trump. The question is, will he be confirmed? Because there is going to be opposition on both sides.
And the reason is?
Because he is in bed with Putin and Russia.
And meanwhile, President Obama can go down and do the wave with Raul Castro and smoke some pot with him after the game.
Right.
And it's all good. But
on the same day that Americans were dying at the airport in Brussels. Let me remind you.
But a company CEO can't do business with a foreign leader without that being a problem. I don't see that being.
We went over this yesterday. You and I are on the same page. We'd like to be friends with Russia, but if you really believe, and it's not just political talk, that Russia is the enemy, then you can't be cool with Tillerson. Here's a guy that, even after sanctions were imposed on Russia after Crimea and Ukraine, basically said, stop doing that, I need to make some money.
Well, they're not our friends. We do have common interests. I mentioned that FDR aligned with Stalin back in the day.
Two great guys.
And, he did. We had common enemy. In this case, it's ISIS. That Russians are Christians, and they have. But if we can get along with them, we might as well try.
I agree with you, but I don't want to hear the ISIS thing again, because it has nothing to do with the two of us trying to defeat ISIS together. It's all about making money together.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Us and Putin.
I'm sorry that I might have to mention ISIS again sometime in the future. So you will forgive me if I do.
No, I won't. I'm going to be pissed because you make it sound good.
ISIS.
Because that sounds good if that was really a motivating factor in any of this.
Listen, they have a major radical Islamic terrorist problem, do the Russians. Major. in their country.
Well,
and so and ISIS is part of it, and they're fighting with the Syrians. Whenever you hear the Syrian rebels, quote unquote rebels,
yep,
they're all radical terrorists.
Yeah.
They're all Sunni Muslim affiliate, either Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, or ISIS is what they are. And the Russians are there with the Syrians fighting those people.
I understand. And they're actually in the city where they're going to build the brand new Trump hotel.
1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid back after this. Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC. Hey.
Yo, you're on Bill O'Reilly tonight, by the way. I want to alert our fans out there. Don't forget, tune into Bill O'Reilly, #1 cable show in the world. And my man B will be on as he is each and every Tuesday, taking over the segment with Gutfeld.
You got Trump doing
that's fine.
A thank you speech.
He did the same thing last week. You still made it on.
Either way.
Where is he tonight?
Thank you for the plug. That's
you're
nice.
welcome. Tonight he's in not Wisconsin.
He is Wisconsin.
Yes.
Oh, Wisconsin. Okay.
It is Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So Noam Laden is here. Did you get any audio of Kanye?
We're working on getting the audio, but we know what the conversation was. It was like a quick little. He was walking Kanye West out. Essentially, what it was, and they asked him, "What did you talk about?" He said, "We just had a casual chat as friends. There was no announcement." He said, "Take care of yourself." He hugged him, and then Kanye West walked out.
So 5 years from now, we'll hear like a Billy Bush audio about Kim Kardashian's ass and what is that like.
Well, I understand Jill has the audio. We're going to play it after Noam does his news.
We are?
Yeah, Noam didn't get it, so screw him. We're going to.
And by the way, Noam, just so you know, I still have not changed my mind on your top stories of 2016.
Okay.
We're still not doing it.
Well, now you're banned from doing it. You're not allowed to do it. So forget it. Don't try to go in there and do it.
We have till tomorrow. I'll do it. I will.
You're going to do it? Bernie, you going to do it?
I plan to do it, yes.
But he told
you can't, Sid, that's it. You can't do it.
No, Bernie told me yesterday there's no way we can do it. He has no time.
He said that on the air yesterday.
Right,
Bernie.
so now you
No, but then I saw the email, and it was a heartfelt plea from Noam.
It was a kind email.
Bernie's nice.
I never asked for anything.
Noam was like, listen, can you help us out?
You're making me look like a prick.
Yep.
Which is not necessarily
too hard.
It's not hard to do, yeah.
Literally.
Hey, listen, we do have that Kanye audio of Trump leaving Trump Tower. We're going to play it again after Noam does his news.
Our next guest in 30 minutes, the great Colonel Alan B. West, related to Kanye West.
Yes.
Same name.
They are. They're second cousins.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. They went in different directions, obviously.
Sure.
Colonel West became an American hero.
Right.
And Kanye went on to be a somewhat talented lunatic.
Right. What about Adam West? He played Batman. Is he related to? Because he's white.
He's their great-grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're all related.
They're all the Wests are related.
Unbelievable.
Jerry West.
Jerry West, right?
May West, Grandma.
Oh, the great Mae West. Yeah. Very good. Very good call, Jim.
Come on up and see me sometime.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. Right. Very good. So anyway, Kanye West. That's. Why is that overshadowing everything? Donald Trump. First of all, Trump was brilliant. He was supposed to have this press conference tomorrow, outlining how he's going to divest from his businesses, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody was obsessing over why is he canceling that press conference. So what does he do? He says, okay, now it's time to pull the trigger and announce my choice for Secretary of State.
Yeah.
So nobody's talking about, what's he hiding, this, that, the other. Not that he's hiding anything, but they would make something of it.
Well, I was asking this morning, why do people even care? What's the big deal? And I guess Newsweek came out with a story, because Donald has said that his two sons, not Ivanka, because there's still... the consensus is Ivanka will get a job somewhere in Washington despite nepotism, but the two boys are going to run his companies. Newsweek claims that if, in fact, he remained in his businesses, that leaves himself open for blackmail.
Well, okay.
That would be the issue.
But the overriding point is that if he was interested in making money, he would have never ran for president. He could have made so much more money.
No, agreed.
I mean, there's no question that he wants this to work. He wants his presidency to work. He wants his legacy to be that he was a successful president, that he helped the country regain whatever it is he wants to regain.
And he's still making money. His kids, it's still his company. It's not like he's out of business.
No, he's not. Exactly. But as he said, this is so much bigger than that. That is secondary. Right now, this is his primary focus.
Yeah.
So he's not looking to be a sleazeball. He already came into this with money. It's not like the Clintons. They came in dead broke and they're like, okay, how do we get rich?
Right.
And so there's that's not the motivation for this run for presidency.
No doubt.
So that type of skepticism or cynicism when you approach Trump and his businesses, I think, is unwarranted. I don't think he's just not looking for it. He's not, and he doesn't have a history of being corrupt. I mean, he maybe has done things that are ruthless, but he's not a corrupt guy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So Kanye West, and he visits Trump. All this eclipsing, overshadowing Trump's appointment of the Exxon CEO as Secretary of State, and Rick Perry as Energy Secretary, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway,
well, how many people are on the? If you said Rex Tillerson and Rick Perry and Kanye West, millions and millions and millions more know who Kanye West is, and that's part. See, Donald Trump is still, even though he's the president of the United States, and maybe, by the way, right now the most famous person in the world, he's still a jock sniffer. He just is.
What?
He loves the entertainers, the athletes. He loves all that stuff.
Well, it's also that you could make that case. Very plausible.
That's my case. I don't want to hear about him reaching out.
You don't want to hear my case?
No, you can make it.
My case is that that's exactly what he's doing.
That's
in fact,
silly.
So many people went to see Donald Trump at Trump Tower. He does not come down with them usually and see them out
because they're not superstars.
With Kanye,
they're not stars.
But also the optics of standing there with the young rap star Kanye West.
Right.
That's going to go a long way for Donald Trump. I mean, that's not lost on. He's not an idiot. He's a smart, savvy guy.
I didn't say he's an idiot. He is a smart, savvy guy. He won the election. He's a good businessman, but he's a jock sniffer. He is what he is. He's always been that way from his time sucking up to Mike Tyson, to the USFL, hanging out with NFL football players. That's Donald. This is no different.
He punches jocks. He doesn't sniff their jock. He tramples on these people half the time.
No, he doesn't. Only if they mess with him. If you're an athlete or an entertainer and you like Donald Trump, he loves it.
He does love it. That is true. But look, he sees an opportunity.
Loves it.
And he seized on it brilliantly with Kanye West. It's really, this is going to go a long way. So anyway, these are the words afterwards in Trump Tower as he escorted Kanye out of the building. Not, forcefully. They were just walking together.
He was physically removed.
He had his arm around Kanye, and this was said.
Just friends, and it's a good man. Doing well. Long time. We've been friends for a long time. Life.
They talked about life.
But why would he say that? Why would he say we're good friends? He's a good man.
Just being a nice guy.
He's a dirtbag, Kanye West.
He wants tickets to his concert.
Oh, please.
Look, Kanye West is a screwball. He's a screwball, and at times he acted like a racist.
But other than that,
not
a bad guy.
He's not a horrible guy.
He's
you know what I mean?
No,
you think?
Yeah. When Imus this morning talked about George Will as maybe the biggest asshole.
Yeah, he's deluded. Kanye has delusions of grandeur. There's no doubt about that. Right. Complete delusions of grandeur. And look, a-hole may fit. May very well fit.
May.
Hanging out with the Kardashians, he's got to be crazy.
Well, he's out of his mind. That's just, look, the Kardashian is the curse of the black man, apparently. But look, Lamar Odom is back in rehab.
It's all men. In fact, they all claim because even the middle sister, what is her name again? No, Chloe's the fat one, the young
the tiny one.
Courtney.
She,
her ex-boyfriend, father of her children, Scott Disick, he's been excommunicated. Then you got Chris Humphries, white guy, NBA player. He's been excommunicated. So it's not just the Reggie Bushes and Lamar Odoms and Kanye West. It's any man that gets involved, white or black, with the Kardashians. Not only they break up with those guys, but they make them look like fools in the press.
Look, the father died young. The revolting mother was just
Robert Kardashian.
Yeah, horrendous.
Of course,
wife.
he died. He was OJ's friend. That was karma.
She was hosing everybody in California, including OJ. Was Kardashian the father, and the brother is he turned into a fat moose, lunatic, psycho.
Robert, yeah.
So and their father's a woman.
He wasn't even invited to the last wedding.
And dad's a woman now.
Right.
So there's something
it's messed up.
And yet, with all that said, not only the three sisters, forgetting about Courtney, Chloe, and Kim, even the babies, the two Jenner girls now, are all worth money you couldn't dream about. And you're going to say to me, well, is it worth it? The father is dead. The new father is a woman. Is it worth it? And the answer is, without any hesitation, of course it's worth it. Of course.
It's worth it for them.
Though.
Yeah, they're worth billions.
But now, what caused Kanye to all of a sudden? It seemed precipitous. The onset of lunacy.
Oh, you didn't think it was a gradual thing? It seemed like it was for the last couple of years. It's been building
up. I thought it was just that leading up to the last few concerts. People
maybe.
said the rumor was he went home and he saw the L.A. Clippers bus outside the house, and that sort of set him off.
That would do it.
I might do it. And, because she has a history. And well,
they said O.J., a couple of days before he killed his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, that he had gone to pay her a visit. And she lived in like a downstairs. She had like a living room that had a glass door that was like you could see from the backyard. And O.J. had gone into the backyard, into the glass door in the backyard to peer inside because she wasn't answering the doorbell. And when he looked inside, she was actually involved in a sexual act with another man. And that set him off a couple of days before he went there and killed her.
Uh-huh.
He actually peered in because she's not answering the door, and she's involved in again, this is, I'm not sure it's ever been confirmed, but that was at least a rumor that he saw that. So if in fact Kanye West saw the bus.
That's kind of, yeah. Well, at least he didn't he didn't do that. He's sick in the head, but he's not
murderous.
He's not murderous.
By the way, that's another event where you always remember where you were, the chasing of the white Bronco.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
I was in my sister's basement, the same sister I'm living with now. She's in Mobesa now, but she was in Marine Park back then, watching the Knicks and Rockets.
And where was I?
In a brothel?
Close. It was a rub and tug right on 31st Street. No, actually, it was the Knicks-Rocket game.
You were at the game?
I was at the game.
So you were one of those millions in the hallway looking at the screen, right?
I know. I wasn't. I was courtside. Believe it or not, I had good connections back then. When remember Francesa used to do the show.
Of course, he did the play-by-play.
And Mike was doing the games, and Al Troutwig was doing whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we were doing the shows on FAN, and I used to imitate Walt Clyde Frazier.
Still do.
Huffing and stuffing on the left side.
Amazing.
Raping and vaping at the after party. Stuff like that. Whatever. So that's where I was.
Yeah, but I was told that everybody got out of their seats at one point during the Knick game and went into the hallways at the Garden to watch the chase.
As the VIP that I was back then, in that little circle, I went into the play-by-play bar.
Even better.
And we sat there and watched it as the Knicks played, just ignoring the Knicks, watching the Broncos.
That's what everybody did. You're right. Mike Francesa did the show there, the play-by-play. That's right.
In fact, on Mike's show, we did a Walt Frazier sound-alike contest, and I, Walt, and Mike Breen were the judges.
That's hilarious. Oh, you weren't in it? You were a judge?
I was a judge.
Oh, because you're great at it.
Well,
great at it.
Yeah. Providing the impetus for others. Well, that was back then, whatever. That's where I was. It seems how you brought it up during the O.J. Bronco.
You were actually at the game.
I was at the game.
Funny.
Yeah.
If you would have asked, one of us was home watching the game and the other was at the Garden, people may have thought it was the other way around.
Right. No, listen, back then.
You were a big Knick fan.
I was a player, yo.
Oh, you're a big Knick fan.
No, I was not a Knick fan.
What are you talking about?
No, that's the thing. In fact, Troutwig would come up to me and say, "You're a notorious Knick hater." He would come up to me during.
Were you a Knick hater though?
Well, I was sitting there all jacked up, on whatever,
right,
including alcohol,
right.
Al Troutwig would ambush me with the camera. What are you doing here? You're supposed to hate the Knicks,
right,
et cetera.
Because you would joke about them on the Imus show all the time. But did you hate them? Were you like an actual?
Yeah. Well, look, I wasn't a big fan at the time.
They annoyed you. They
annoyed me.
Yeah.
I had. I root
Patrick took himself a little too seriously.
That's exactly right.
Ewing was.
I root for individuals necessarily, not teams.
Right.
But now I'm back on the Knicks.
Now you love the Knicks again.
I don't love the Knicks. But, you got Derrick Rose and Carmelo, the schmuck.
Yeah. And
it's
Noah.
Hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I like Noah.
No, but he was the one who wouldn't stand as something with the American flag a couple of months ago. Remember, he had some type of
is that right?
anti-patriot. Yeah,
I hate the Knicks now.
Yeah. Remember back then when it was it? I think it was Patrick and Keyshawn Johnson, who was on the Jets at the time, and they were both having sex with the same Knicks City dancer. Remember that?
Now listen,
that must have made you happy.
That I would have turned me around had I known.
Well, Rita was in Alpine, New Jersey. Patrick was at dance classes.
That reminds me, I was a Nets fan, a New Jersey Nets fan.
You were?
Jason Williams.
Yes.
And Drazen Petrovic and those guys.
Derek Coleman, Mookie Blaylock, Kenny Anderson.
They were ascendant.
Chuck Daly was the coach.
The Nets ascendant in the league. Yeah, stuff like that. So anyway, Bernie and Sid, we have coming up next Kanye's half-brother, Colonel Alan B. West, is going to join us after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.
The disabled truck on the Newark Bay Bridge eastbound off-ramp to Bayonne.
What message are we sending when we sit down at the table with the #1 state sponsor of terrorism? What message are we sending when we sit down with a country that is holding 4 Americans hostage? No different from the last time we had a weakling in the White House when we had 53 Americans being held hostage. What message do we send when we create this false narrative about either we sign this piece of paper that just the same meant nothing to Adolf Hitler, it means nothing to the Ayatollahs, or the only other alternative is to go to war? Well, let me tell you something. The United States of America is about victors. The United States of America is about champions. The United States of America does not surrender to a bunch of black-robed, crazed clerics that want to see us destroyed.
Yeah! You gotta love that, man. Back on the Bernie and Sid show on WABC. That's the voice of our next guest. He's on the line right now. An American hero, Iraq war veteran, retired Army colonel, former congressman, Alan B. West. Good morning, Colonel West.
Good morning, Bernie and Sid, and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Fantastic. I don't know, but I know that you were down in Florida at the same time as me. I actually used to work, Alan, for years with Joyce Kaufman. I came back to New York this year. About the same time you went to Texas, I came back to New York, but I worked with Joyce for many years.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I used to, WFPL.
That's exactly right. So while she was out there helping you out, and I was trying to help Marco beat Kendrick Meeks and Charlie Crist, which I did, by the way.
I remember.
Oh, those
Did.
So you moved to Texas now, though, right?
Yes, I'm the executive director and vice chairman of the board for the National Center for Policy Analysis. This conservative free market think tank, been around for 33 years.
Awesome.
So the big news, Colonel West, is that Donald Trump just met with your brother, Kanye West.
Right.
Oh, here we go.
Stepbrother. We made that clear. Yes.
But can you believe that he actually met with? I know you were at Trump Tower about a week and a half ago, and I
was there yesterday.
He's actually been there twice in the last week.
You listen. There's got to be a place for you in that administration. I mean, you are like the perfect guy for a Trump administration. That speech that we just played, and a million other things, by the way. Are you up for something? Can you talk about? Or
Well, I can't divulge exactly, what's being discussed, but there is a possibility, and, it's just a great honor that a kid born and raised in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia can, one day sit down and be interviewed to be part of a presidential administration. That's the greatness of America.
You like Donald Trump, Alan, the whole way through, because, again, his critics will say that he said things that were racist, that were homophobic, that were, you name it. He basically offended every single category of person out there. Was there ever a time you were offended by Donald Trump, or you were with him from day one?
No, I'm not offended by, what people say. Remember, I used to be in the military, and, drill sergeants used to say things about me that were much worse, to include, my wife now, who is a Brooklyn girl. She can be kind of tough on me as well. But the thing is that America was not looking for a savior to be in 1600 Pennsylvania, as opposed to the liberal progressive left, which is what they tend to look for. We were looking for someone that is tough, someone that can stand up and restore that sense of honor, strength, and resolve in this great nation. We're tired of seeing, our sailors on their knees at gunpoints, or, our ships being harassed. That's not the America that we know and love. We're tough people, and it seems that we wanted a tough president, and that's what we got.
And how about this, Colonel West? I know you have some thoughts on it. The crybaby sore-losing left. First it was the Comey letter, then it was fake news. Now it's the Russians helped Donald Trump win. It couldn't possibly be that she was a horrible candidate. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's very simple. The left is going to look for a straw man, and they're going to come up with anything instead of, looking at themselves. And the fact that you have them, they reelected Nancy Pelosi to be the House Minority Leader, and you have Chuck Schumer as the Senate Minority Leader, that shows that they still, as Representative Tim Ryan of Ohio said, they have become a party of coastal elitists. And when you think about the fact that they're considering Keith Ellison to be the chairman of the Democrat Party, that tells you that they did not get the memo from the American people.
No. Well,
and, yeah.
You're right. And before we delve deeper into Keith Ellison, somebody Bernard's been talking about for quite some time, I'll ask you this, Alan. You're a rational guy. You're down from Florida. Why can't it be both? Why can't it be that they are sore losers, that Hillary did a bad job, she didn't go visit the state she should have, but at the same time, if in fact the Russians had information on both the RNC and the DNC and only leaked one, why can't it be both?
Well, because they don't want to look at themselves. They'd rather have that scapegoat out there and that fallback.
But forget about them. Forget about them looking at it. I'm talking about from a rational point of view. Take the bias out. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. We know the Democrats are sore losers. We know they're crying now, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But if, in fact, the Russians did help, even a little, well, that's not good either, is it?
Well, I don't see how the Russians could help. I don't see how the Russians could, tell Bernard and Sid and Alan West, this is who you should vote for. I don't remember Vladimir Putin running one commercial advertisement. I don't, see them going into any election machines and hacking into them. So this whole thing.
But what if they got them the emails? What if they got Assange those emails that eventually did come back to bite Hillary in the ass somewhat?
Well, you know what? You shouldn't have put those emails out there. We had a very simple saying down south that never do something in private that you don't want to see or have people read in public.
Right, exactly right. Exactly right.
So
listen,
it comes back to the Hillary Clinton and her campaign. She was a flawed, failed candidate. They did not have a message, and the American people, spoke.
And the Russians did not make crooked Hillary pimp out the State Department. They didn't make her and Donna Brazile cheat and CNN cheat at the debates. It wasn't the Russians who made her lie about Benghazi and insult voters, as you said.
Well, and also remember that, Hillary Clinton and through the Clinton Foundation, they cut a deal with the Russians on this uranium.
Thank you.
No one talks about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Where's the investigation into that? 20% of our uranium supply, which is finite, a lot of people don't understand, that was sold to the Russians, and they profited off it because of her position at the State Department. That is so corrupt and stinky, and nobody says squat about it.
No, that doesn't fit the narrative. We know that.
Right.
Well, let's talk about the narrative for a second, Alan, because, again, I happen to like you, to know you from the days in Florida. Bernard loves you. We're happy to have you on the program. We really are. But anytime we bring on a guest, I've got friends on both sides that are liberals and on the right. And they've all got something to say about a guest. So, for example, my buddy texted me this morning. He said, you're having Alan West on today? I go, yeah, I like Alan West. Yeah, but he's the same guy that put on his Facebook page, we should slaughter all the Muslims. No wonder he loves Donald Trump. What about that?
No, well, first of all, your friend should read and understand that, someone else put that on my Facebook page. They were part of our social media and website team, and that person has resigned. I had no knowledge about it. As a matter of fact, I was in a commission hearing down in Austin, Texas for 2 days, Thursday and Friday. I found out on a Saturday, and I took care of it. So your friend is, horribly misinformed, but that's how the left rolls. They don't want to get the full story, and that's where all these false news stories come from. So your friend should consider himself corrected now.
F him. He's not my friend anymore. I'm getting rid of him.
And speaking of fake news, by the way, Sid mentioned that the RNC was hacked as well, and they didn't release those details. The RNC was not hacked. They were not hacked, so the Russians did not have the RNC information to release. They did have the Democrat stuff, and all of a sudden everybody's worried about cybersecurity. At least the Democrats are. They weren't worried about it when Hillary had her server out there, her private server in her basement. All of a sudden now it's a big deal.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that if you have a private email server that is having classified information go across it, tell me what soldier, sailor, airman, marine could do that. You have a U.S. Navy sailor who took 6, photos in the classified section of a nuclear submarine. He's now serving 15 months in prison for what he did, and he owned up to it. But yet we have a person that we know was using classified information over an unsecured means, and they got to run for president, and nothing is happening, and everyone, basically says there's no there. Well, it's these type of double standards of the cultural elite and intellectual elite and political political elite that has the everyday Joe and Jane six-pack of America just incensed, and especially those of us who have, served in uniform. I had a TS-SCI clearance, and I guarantee you, if I did 1% of what Hillary Clinton had done, first of all, I would have my clearance revoked. Second of all, I would, without a doubt, be dishonorably discharged, and I could be going to Fort Leavenworth.
Yeah, no, listen, I think that's fair. That's a very fair criticism. Then I'm going to ask you about Jim Comey, Alan. I know that Harry Reid is yelling and screaming about how he should be investigated, and we saw what he did in July. Then we saw what he did again in November. What about Jim Comey?
Well, Jim Comey kind of painted himself into a very bad box. If you just stand up for the rule of law, you'll always be right. But if you start to be influenced through politics, you will find yourself chasing your reputation. And I think that the whole episode over there in the Department of Justice, from the point when Bill Clinton meets with the Attorney General on a tarmac in Arizona, everything went downhill from there. So we need stand-up kind of people, and I think that that's what the Trump administration will bring.
Now, Colonel West, you served in Iraq, and this goes to the ill-advised tweet that your staffer put out. He was trying to send a message. It was poorly worded, but his sentiment was, I think, on the money in that President Obama...
No, it was a she.
It was a she. Okay. President Obama ignored the whole ISIS threat, and he had people like... General Mattis and General Flynn telling him that ISIS is on the rise and they're on the march and you got to do something. And he said, no, they're the JV team. Now he's blaming the intel. He's saying these days that that nobody was telling me, and it's clear that we have tape of people telling him in conferences that ISIS was on the rise. And you served there, you admirably. He pulled the troops out. ISIS is now, all over the place in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. So tell us, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, it was a campaign, an intransigent ideology that led President Obama to make what will go down in history as one of the greatest strategic blunders ever, to completely withdraw all of our troops from Iraq. That would be the same as we had completely withdrawn from Germany after World War II, and you would have allowed elements to see a resurgence. But for the president just last week on CNN with Fareed Zakaria to sit there and say that ISIS came in beneath his intelligence radar screen, that tells me something. Either you were not listening to the people that were providing you briefings, and you should not be counseling, Donald Trump about taking intelligence briefings, or you are just that much of an incompetent commander-in-chief.
Or you're lying.
Or you're lying.
Right.
Absolutely. And so, without a doubt, again, you find someone that is looking for everyone else to blame than himself. Remember, Harry Truman used to say the buck stops here. That's not the case with Barack Obama, and we're tired of the excuses. And, if we should be conducting any investigations, we should be conducting an investigation as to why this horrific, savage, barbaric Islamic jihadist group was allowed to rise in the last 2 years under President Obama's watch. And then last week, I believe, they come out and say 50,000 jihadist militants from ISIS have been killed. How do they know 50,000 have been killed? They didn't even know that they existed.
Fair point. Alan West here with Bernie, and said that's why some of these appointees too are so important, whether it's Mad Dog Mattis or Michael Flynn. But do want to ask you about Mitt Romney. We've been having fun with Mitt between the Bernie and Sid show and the Imus show. There is a portion of us that believe that Donald Trump basically had Mitt Romney had those two meetings to humiliate him, that he never really forgot how Mitt talked about him and wanted to make Mitt feel like he had a real chance at a real position, never really thinking he would give it to him. What do you think about that?
Well, anything I say would be subjective. I'm not privy to the meetings, and I'm not inside Donald Trump's head. But, he has named Rex Tillerson to be the Secretary of State for the United States of America. I understand his rationale for doing that, because here's a person that is a doer, not just an international careerist bureaucrat or politician that is out there. And he sat across the table from good people and bad people. And he's had to be able to look them in the eye and make the deal. And that's the essence of who Donald Trump is. He's a businessman. He wrote the book, The Art of the Deal, and those are the type of people he's looking for. The only downside, of course, to Rex Tillerson being named Secretary of State, is that you're going to kind of feed into the narrative of the liberal media and the progressive left about the Russia thing. But, you just got to be prepared for that. And Mr. Tillerson, as his nickname out here is T-Rex, he's got to come in there like he's that big monster dinosaur in Jurassic Park.
Were you one of those people like Kellyanne Conway and a host of others that really despised Mitt for what he did a couple of months ago and really very happy he did not get a position with Donald Trump?
The thing that I could not understand is why he did not show that same type of resolve and passion when he was running against President Obama in 2012. That's the only thing. So,
so listen, Donald Trump, Colonel West, finally, he is, as has been pointed out, he's an alpha male who, he commands respect, he inspires fear. Heck, he turned big bad LeBron James into a snowflake looking for a safe space, for God's sakes. So on the issue of Vladimir Putin, it's no wonder that a guy like Putin sort of respects Donald Trump. Now, wouldn't it be good if we got along with Russia? They're not perfect, but then again, if it benefits this country, let's get along with these people instead of fighting with them.
Well, I want to get along with them from a position of the high ground. I do not want to have a president that, as we say in the military, Semper Gumby, because when President Obama talked about his flexibility after re-election, we see what that means. I don't want to have a president or a Secretary of State that is giving out little yellow toy boxes with a red button and calling it a reset button, because we see what that is for Crimea, Ukraine, and Syria. Yep. So I want a serious person that, Vladimir Putin is about, I think, 5'5", Donald Trump is about 6'3", 6'4". Yeah. I want Donald Trump to look at Vladimir Putin and say, "You may know judo, but I will crush you."
Perfect. I tell you what, Colonel West, we love you.
Good luck too, man.
What an American.
Yeah, good luck with Trump. Hopefully you get a nice position to come back on this show and tell us about it, okay?
I would be honored, and hopefully I can get into the studio and be with you guys.
That'll be great.
No doubt. We look forward to that. Colonel Alan West on the Bernie and Sid Show, and we thank you.
Statements or business plans are necessary. Experience the Merchant Capital Source difference and get cash for your business today.
Apply online at mcscash.com or call 800-943-6691. That's 800-943-6691. 800-943-6691. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California Finance Lender's Law license. Bernie and Sid, two brains, one show.
Guaranteed to be enormously successful.
77 WABC.
We are black. I mean, we are back.
Right. We were black moments ago with Alan West
on the Bernie and Sid Show. And, Colonel Alan West, now that's the kind of guy. That's a leader right there.
I like him. People hated him in Florida. God, they hate him.
Yeah, they hate him because he's a black conservative. Of course they hate him. Like they hate Clarence Thomas. Like they hate Ben Carter. Of course they do. But screw him. I mean, you that's a man's man, a guy who put his life on the line, and a passionate believer, and doesn't give a rat's ass what people think.
So tomorrow I'm going to give Noam the 3 top stories for 2016, and I'm going to ask you, because you're my best friend, besides Danielle. Is this gratuitous? Because the obvious choice is going to be Donald Trump, right?
Well, it's got to be one, of course.
Chicago Cubs?
I think there's a bigger story, actually.
The Cubs, first World Series in 6,000 years.
Maybe
since
for
Jesus
you.
walked the earth.
Maybe in your world.
No, in anybody's world.
No, the Chicago Cubs is like not even in the top 10.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, maybe the top 10.
All right. Would it be gratuitous for me picking my top stories if I picked my own return to New York as the number 1 story for 2016?
No, it's okay. You're Sid-centric, and as you should. We're all all egocentric, are we not?
And it took me 10 years to get back to New York. Thank you to Chad Lopez for getting me back. Is that the number 1 story?
Look at that stud out there.
He is a good-looking kid,
Look at
isn't
that Puerto Rican stud
He's
right
good-looking
there.
kid.
Hey?
His suits are tailored perfectly.
He's pulling his zipper down.
He's got a huge penis. Huge penis. Craig Schwab told me.
You heard? Here is Noam with the news.
From the Nouveau Fat Loss Studios, 77.
Mitt cannot run. He choked like a dog. You ever see him in athletics? He's a choker. And you know the truth, I hate to say it, I hope we don't have too many in the audience. Once a joker, always a joker. And he walks like a penguin onto the stage. Ever seen? Like a penguin.
Back here on the Bernie and Sid Show on 77 WABC. Like a penguin! Donald Trump on the campaign trail, humiliating.
I guess that second dinner meant nothing now, did it?
You know, maybe there was dinner and there was nothing. There was no happy ending. That ain't right. That ain't right. Listen, Mitt Romney, look, they had conversations. Apparently it didn't work out. Why be a sour bastard and just try to...
Mitt wasn't sour. He was very cool
I'm saying, why should I don't want to be.
Because you like Kellyanne Conway and the real Trump loyalists.
I'm saying I'm not. I'm not going to be that way. Look, Mitt Romney was despicable during the campaign.
He was.
In my opinion.
He was.
But I think he was sufficiently contrite, and I think he, like Trump, had the country's best interest at heart when they met.
Yep.
I believe that. So
that phone call still had to suck last night. He got the call from Trump, him and Petraeus and Bolton. And
Bolton's going to be he's going to be the deputy Secretary of State, which is inexplicable.
So he gets a job, right?
I mean, that is kind of disturbing to me that John Bolton's there.
I guess one of the criteria for Donald Trump was not if you voted for or against the Iraq War. I guess not.
No, look, I think yes. Not whether you voted for it, whether you learned the lesson of it, whether you now still think it was a good idea. But this Rex Tillerson is so out of the box. Nobody knows where he stands on foreign. He's going to take direction, and it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. It's all about putting this country first. That's what it's all. That's what I love about the whole thing. Everybody else be damned. Screw you all. You're a bunch of ingrates out there. You don't care. We're an exceptional country. We do great, good things around the world, but nobody seems to appreciate it, and we're taken advantage of. We're suckers. And I think that's the mentality that we're seeing that's going to come into the White House on January 20th.
We'll see. I mean, it's difficult for me to say Rex Tillerson is a great pick and or a bad pick.
Don't know.
Right.
He's a blank slate. However, we do know he ran this company and
did a very good job. Put the company before the country, but fine.
Well, right, which is what his job. Which he's paid to do, and that's why now he's going to put the country first before the world.
How do you know?
Trump is the president
How do you know?
of the United States, not the president of the world, which is where we were going with President Obama and Hillary Clinton, the global village, all of that stuff. Forget about it. We're a sovereign country. And we're a great country. In order to be a beacon in the world, you have to be a great country. You can't be just like everybody else. And that's where we were headed. And overall, that's the bigger picture. So poor Trump, but Mitt Romney, maybe he'll get a job advising on some economic council. One of Trump's top unofficial advisors, this guy Roger Stone, who we've spoken to here on the.
Well, he got fired. Didn't Trump fire him back in August?
I don't know if he fired him.
He fired him.
Okay, anyway, he said this about what Trump was doing to Romney.
Donald Trump was interviewing Mitt Romney for Secretary of State in order to torture him, to toy with him. And given the history, that's completely understandable. Mitt Romney crossed the line.
I just don't think that. I don't think Trump was doing that.
I don't think that. Roger's a hothead. He's crazy. It's one of the reasons why he's not still. And he wrote a book. By the way, if you don't like Hillary Clinton, and you think she's embroiled in every controversy from day one, from the day God created the earth, buy Roger Stone's latest book on Hillary Clinton.
He's got a picture of Richard Nixon tattooed on his back. For God's sake.
He does.
He's got Tricky Dick on his back.
Yeah, he's a maniac. He's a great interview. He's been on our show. He was great with us.
And he may very well be right. He has some insight into the thinking.
I don't see it.
Of Donald Trump, but I don't know either. Now listen, we were talking to Colonel West about Obama being in denial. He's trying to revise history as he exits the Oval Office. And one cheap shot was that coming out 2 days ago and saying, we're going to have this investigation into the Russian hacking. First of all, and I heard Rudy Giuliani say this last night, but I was saying it yesterday before I heard anybody else say it, do it on the DL. Don't tip your hand that you're doing an investigation. Letting potential hackers know that you're looking into it, you're coming after them. But in any case, that's the first cheap shot, is that he was politicizing this. President Obama was, I think.
And of course, very consistent. That as I said yesterday with Barack Obama, who never did anything by surprise. He even outlined in detail what he would do with ISIS.
Yeah, telegraphed the whole goddamn.
He'd be standing up there. I'm saying, how many planes, what time, where it's going to be.
So now,
I mean, come on.
He had called ISIS the JV team back in early 2014, like January 2014, and then he was interviewed over the weekend, and he said this about it.
The ability of ISIL to initiate major land offensives, that was not on my intelligence radar screen.
Now, so he's blaming the intel people. Of course, there were people left and right all over the place. General Mattis did get fired because he was trying to warn Trump. General Flynn got pushed out because he tried to warn Obama. Now, listen to General Flynn in January of 2014, the same exact time that Obama was calling them the JV. Don't worry about them. They're nothing. Take a listen to Flynn.
I mean, the
2014.
Scale of what they are involved in right now, particularly the Al-Qaeda element in Iraq, and just the level of destruction that they're having, the level of killing that they're doing inside of that country is terrible.
Yeah, he's really worried about, now maybe worried's the wrong word, but his legacy. I mean, I've heard Obama say himself that he will be regarded as a great president. Himself, he will be regarded as a great president. So on the way out, any slip-ups, any issues, any problems, he's going to want to make it very, very clear that's not on him. So when you, in fact, when the books come out and Michael Beschloss and Doris Kearns Goodwin and all those write the books, you can talk about, well, anything that went wrong during my presidency, that wasn't my fault.
Right. Well, of course, the fact of the matter is economic growth was the lowest of any administration ever in the history of administration presidencies.
But
I know we had the recession.
It was really basically a depression.
There was no recovery.
The market did great under Barack Obama.
That's right. The market's now doing it's exceeding all expectations.
Well, no, it's going in the same direction.
Because
the difference is they said that it would fall when Trump took over. It's not falling, but you got to give Obama the credit for the market if you're going to give Trump the credit for the market. Really, the president has nothing to do with either one.
Well, he does. He does in that he forces the Fed to keep interest rates down. And that the easy money helps keep inflation down and et cetera, et cetera. Not that I work for Fox Business or anything.
No, but that's true. That's true.
And so anyway, you had that. And you had the JV team thing, and of course, let's not forget when he said that when the Christians, and by the way, there was another mass execution of Christians in Egypt, but when the Christians had their heads cut off
on the beach, 21 of them.
Don't get on your high horse. I mean, because the Christians, look what the Christians did back during the Crusades.
Yeah.
I mean, that was despicable. However, he was an historic president in that he was the first black man elected.
Right.
You know, he had that going for him.
You got universal health care done.
But Obama, that's going away. That screwed the middle class big time. That was such a scam, redistribution of wealth.
Yeah.
That if you worked hard and did everything right, you're the one who got screwed. You're the one who couldn't afford health care insurance.
One of my friends on Facebook, if you go on my Facebook page, Sid Rosenberg, you'll see her all the time. Her name is Shirley Sotloff. She's on my page almost every single day. Shirley Sotloff is the mother of Stephen Sotloff. Stephen Sotloff was not the first. James Foley was the first.
I know where you're going.
Stephen was the second American to be beheaded by Jihadi John on video. First it was Foley. Barack was playing golf that day. And the second one was Sotloff. So I've gotten to know this lady very, very well. She's a wonderful lady. She lives down in Florida, in fact. And for me, that's how I'll always remember Barack Obama. That when Americans were dying at an airport in Brussels, he was doing the wave with Cuba's version of Hitler. When James Foley, when the video came, he's being beheaded by Jihadi John, there's a shot of him playing golf, smiling with his thumb up that afternoon. That, for me, above and beyond the health care and all the things he tried to do for the country, it will always ring to me that this guy, for all of his talk, I felt like never really cared.
He didn't vent our anger at those horrific acts. Yeah, right. No drama, Obama.
I couldn't eat that day. I was sick to my stomach.
He gave that press conference, I think, in a golf shirt and shorts.
He did. He did.
In what was it? Not Martha's Vineyard or whatever. And they went golfing.
It was somewhere there. Yeah.
So insulting, so offensive.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he drew the red line, which he should never have done. He never should have drawn that red line when it came to Syria. And then afterwards, he didn't follow. To his credit, he didn't follow through on it.
And then also on top of that, he told Sotloff, because they wanted to pay to get their son out. And they went to Obama in the State Department many, many times. They said, whatever it takes, we'll raise the money. We don't do business with, don't do it. We're not going to allow you to do it. And he died. Okay? Same thing with Kayla Mueller, the young girl that was raped time and time again by Baghdadi, who ended up getting blown up in a building in Iraq. Her family tried to get her out too and pay for it. We don't do,
we don't pay ransom.
Right, but we'll put $1 billion on an Epping airplane to give to Iran. We'll do that, which in essence was ransom money for the hostages 30 years ago.
And we're going to get a deserter out, Bo Bergdahl.
A traitor.
Right, a traitor.
And 5 bad guys for him.
Exactly right.
That's how I remember Barack Obama.
Yes, the legacy is not going to be what he thinks it is. It will be that he's the first black president, a 2-term president, but the accomplishments not there. Not there at all. But you have some of these deranged, psychotic leftists who have, again, the collective nervous breakdown that they're experiencing. It's sort of fun to watch, but it's very vicious and it's poisonous. And, at this time you figure there's always supposed to be a honeymoon period. The guy's not, President-elect Trump's not even in office yet, but these people are just trying to tear him down left and right.
Well, that's why, look, LeBron James can say whatever he wants. I get it, okay? But that's why when I was on CNN last week, I said, with the divide going on right now, why take something as silly as the hotel you're staying at for a Nick Cavalier game and make a statement? It wasn't, now it came out the next day and he was like, well, I wish him the best. I've got kids too. But you're making a statement. Why make a statement there and then? Just go to the damn hotel, play a stupid basketball game, and go home and badmouth Donald Trump all you want. That's your right as an American. But to make a statement like that, all that does is create a bigger divide.
I do, as I said to Colonel West, love the fact that Trump turned big bad LeBron James into a crybaby looking for a safe space.
He did. And West giggled, by the way.
And then so you have guys like this mutt, Keith Olbermann, who's reduced to putting out videos on the internet from his mother's basement.
He's garbage anyway. It's garbage.
It's amusing, though.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah.
Take a listen to this first clip of Keith Olbermann.
Barack Obama has twice stood in front of America, in front of the world, in front of history, and said, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Today is the time for him to do so.
So in other words, he's calling for a special prosecutor, but he sounds a lot like Hitler because he works himself up into a frenzy, and he even looks like him. You can imagine Keith Olbermann with a little mustache on his upper lip. Yep. He even looks like Hitler. You hear him; he's pounding the table. And anyway, he continued. Listen.
Today is the time for him to do so. There is no time for a full review or a measured analysis or recommendations to prevent interference in our future elections, because permitting Donald Trump to assume the office of president reduces the chance that we will have any future elections. And the military apparatus of this country is about to be handed over to scum who are beholden to scum. Russian scum.
You really can't tell the difference, bro.
It's hard, and Hitler hated the Russians, as does apparently Keith Olbermann. And finally, though, you just go out with a laugh. Jimmy Kimmel does these drunk Trump things. He had him from one of his thank you tours recently, and we'll take a listen to this.
You spoke very well. I was very impressed with you. She didn't sleep for about 6 months. I will tell you that. But what and Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
There you go. He did say way back when with the whole Starbucks incident, well before all this started, that he would become president, then you could say Merry Christmas again.
Remember that? I think you're coming around, Sid. I like this. Yeah. I like this. I don't think we're going to see LeBron James at a Kanye West concert anytime soon.
No, not anytime. But Jay-Z, they're cool, because Jay-Z actually even gave him the award last night when LeBron James won Sports Illustrated Person Man of the Year.
2 Hillary supporters. 2 losers. Essentially.
Hey, besides going out on a laugh, on maybe a decent note, we all know what's going on in Aleppo. It is really horrendous. They're killing women and children in their homes. Bodies are in the streets. The latest word is that they are discussing a possible truce. So the bloodshed may, in fact, stop in Aleppo before any more damage is done.
Well, we'll say a prayer. Bernie and Sid, back after this.